Broadcasting live from the Joy 106.3 FM studios, it's the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show with host Coach Daryl Williams. Wildcats, let's flip the switch and do this. Very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. I am Daryl Williams, your host, along with my co-host, Mr. Ralph Smith, and Mr. Cruz is out tonight handling some other business, and I think we'll have Mr. Jerry Bell on the show with us. Ralph, how has your week been?
My week has been great. More importantly, the Wildcats get an opportunity to get healed up and get some rest and get ready to finish these last three games. But my week has been going great. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you had a good week this week. As you said, we kind of been on a break this week. Not a whole lot of activities going on as far as maroon and gold for football. We did practice a couple of days, just more so healing up some injuries and things of that nature, trying to get right before we take the Gridiron again on next weekend against Alcorn State. So, but glad you had a good week. Like I said, get anything accomplished this week so far?
Really?
I know, right? I know.
I mean, I guess I'm just like the football team. I've just been on relax mode.
I heard that. I definitely heard that. So we'll get right into our Swac week recap. Arkansas Pine Bluff. Let's see here. Hold on. Arkansas Pine Bluff goes to Arkansas. I think the first time ever those two guys faced each other ever in a game. And of course, we all know what happened in that contest. So, final score from that contest was Arkansas 45, Pine Bluff 3. No surprises. I know.
Not.
Yeah, definitely no surprises. Game held in Jackson, Mississippi this weekend. Our Wildcats go into Jackson, Mississippi. Start that game off tough, and we'll cover that in a little bit. Start the game off doing some things, getting some turnovers against Jackson State. Unfortunately, that final score ends up Jackson State 42, the Wildcats 12. And as I said, we'll cover that a little bit later. The next game, Florida A&M against Mississippi Valley State. FAMU wins that game 31-28. The Devils played the Rattlers pretty tough there. Ralph, surprises there or?
Well, I think that game opened up a lot of eyes at the Rattlers because I think the Rattlers thought that they were going to go in there and just dominate Mississippi Valley.
Just annihilate them, yeah.
And
that's
they
not what
barely
happened.
got out of there alive.
Right. That game came down to the end.
Yes, it did.
That game came down.
Second week in a row for the Rattlers.
Yeah.
Second week in a row because Alabama A&M had them on the ropes and they barely pulled that one.
Yeah,
out,
let them off. Let them off the hook.
Let them off the hook. Yeah.
Let them off the hook. Prairie View goes into a Southern. A game played in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Southern's homecoming. Prairie View comes away with the win, 48-21. Any surprises for you?
That's a big surprise for me because after seeing Prairie View, I just didn't think they were that strong. But then I haven't seen Southern, so I'm not sure what's going on at Southern because they did struggle with Miles pretty mildly. I think that I'm not sure what's going on with them.
Definitely. And then Alcorn goes to Texas Southern and defeats Texas Southern 44-27.
Yeah, that's a team we got to face.
Yeah. Coming to Daytona next Saturday at noon. Next Saturday at noon. So and we'll cover it a couple of times, and then of course next week. But the last home game, Senior Day, next Saturday, against Alcorn State, will be at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here at Daytona Stadium. There you have it, Ralph. I mean, couple surprises, a couple non-surprises. Just another week in the SWAC.
Well, the only really big surprise for me is that the Wildcats are 0-8. All that other stuff don't matter to me.
It doesn't compulate.
Yeah, we're 0-8, and that's what matters to me.
Right.
And I personally don't think that we're 0-8 team, but we're 0-8.
Care to expound on that, any?
Well, I mean, if you take a look
I know we will in the show.
Yeah, if you take a look at last Saturday, we showed them that we were there to play ball.
We did.
But again, and we've talked about this several times, we don't have an identity on offense. We don't know which way we're going on offense. You know what I mean? We don't know if it's going to be Patrick. Is it going to be Black? We don't know.
From series to series.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. I mean,
and we heard we're still auditioning quarterbacks, but
see, at this stage, for me, I'm an armchair quarterback. For me, we're 0-8. You got two senior quarterbacks that you can't decide on because apparently you don't like either one of them really, really well. So why don't we just go with the freshmen and get ready for next year?
Whose call do you think that is?
Coach
and I know we're jumping a little ahead.
Of course
here,
we are.
But that's the biggest concern here. It is the hell Wildcat Sexes and those shows.
Exactly. I mean, we're armchair quarterbacks.
Right.
So of course we're gonna be out ahead. We're gonna be out ahead of everybody else.
Right.
Because that's the way we're looking at it. But I'm just asking the question, and then Jerry, if you're out there, chime in. Either we decide which one of these seniors we're going to play the next 3 games, or let's just play the freshmen. Get ready for next year.
We got one watcher who says it needs to stop being Patrick.
Well, that's his opinion, of course, and I don't know.
We saw 3 Saturday. One came in at very late cleanup duty.
But that didn't make sense.
Right, yeah.
I mean, to bring him in with 55 seconds left.
To hand the ball
so
off.
he could hand the ball off. I mean, gee whiz. But again, I'm just an armchair quarterback.
But you're a paying person who attends the game.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. But again, I guess we need some debate tonight. Should we stick with the seniors or should we just go with the freshmen?
We'll kick that off at 9:05, and we want to definitely hear from you. It's an off week, so we'll have plenty of time. We'll have plenty of time to listen to opinions and how you feel the state of Bethune-Cookman football is currently. We'll definitely want to hear from you.
We'll go there.
Yeah. That'll take us into our Pro First Sports Management SWAC week schedule and rankings. First up, we have Arkansas Pine Bluff facing Texas Southern. That game being played in Houston. That's a 3 p.m. kickoff. Have Alabama A&M playing Alabama State. That game is a 3:30 p.m. kickoff in Birmingham, Alabama, in Legion Field. You have Grambling facing FAMU. Of course, we know it's FAMU's homecoming up on the hill. That's a 4 p.m. kickoff up in Bragg Stadium in Tallahassee. You have Jackson State going into Itabena, Mississippi to face the Mississippi Valley State Devils. That game is a 4 p.m. kickoff there in Itabena. You have Alcorn State facing Southern. That game is a 7 p.m. kickoff in Baton Rouge. And that rounds out. Our Wildcats, of course, are off this Saturday, as we said earlier, trying to get healed up and things of that nature, so that when we do come back out for our last 3 games, we're ready to go. And you will hear some discussion in regards to that tonight. who plays for those last 3 games? Is there a point in time? And these are just questions right now that we'll talk about, we'll discuss. Is there any salvaging the season?
I mean, that depends on how you define salvaging the season. How do you define that? Winning the last 3? So now you're 3 and what? 8?
It can't be winning the Classic. That can't be. Yeah, that's
nah.
That's long.
I think we've grown up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, if we win the Classic, our season is
right.
Put an exclamation.
We beat FAMU.
Yeah, we beat FAMU. So what?
See,
my thing is, okay, we've gone through this period this year, so we don't repeat the same thing next year. Then let's get ready for next year.
I agree.
I mean, we got 4 quarterbacks over there that haven't played at all. I say you start doing an audition for quarterback for next year because that's what we need.
We're here. The season's done. Time to get the freshmen playing and get ready for 2022 season. So,
because if you look, at the beginning of the season, the defense was getting pushed around. Now the defense is pushing other folks around. So the
making
defense,
plays, folding,
With the exception of the cornerbacks, the linebackers and the defensive line have made tremendous improvement. Now, we did get a couple of guys back, but I'm just saying as a unit, the line and
they're coming on when we, when we really need them. Yeah.
They seem to be continuously improving as the season goes on, and the offense seemed to take 1 step forward, 2 steps backwards. So we got to get. The bottom line of this game is the team that scores the most points usually wins.
And if you look at stats, what does stats say? What do our offensive stats say?
Well, one week we're probably close to 400 yards, and next week we can barely get 250. We got a quarterback that one quarterback throws for 7 out of 20. I don't know where you're going with 7 out of 20, and an interception. But we got no consistency from the quarterback spot. You don't know what you're going to get from not 1 week to the next, but one play to the next.
So your defense plays tough, and then,
your offense.
They think they're getting off the field, and they do get off the field for maybe a play or two, and then, back out there at times.
3 and out. And we showed at the beginning of the game that we could move the ball against Jackson State. See, everybody says Jackson State got this SEC defense. I'm not impressed.
Right.
They got a good defense, but it ain't no SEC defense.
No. And not one that you can't.
We showed that.
Yeah.
Again, we was in the game and our quarterback was 7 for 20. Our running back, I think we only got 79 yards.
Yeah.
And we still in the game in the first quarter.
Let's cover the Swac football standings.
Okay.
You have in the East, Jackson State 4-0 in the conference, 6-1 overall. FAMU is 3-1 in the conference, 5-2 overall. Alabama State 2-2 in the conference. Overall, they're 3-3. Alabama A&M 1-3 in the conference. Overall, 3-3. Mississippi Valley State 1-3 conference. Overall, 2-5. And our Bethune Cookman Wildcats 0-5 in the conference, 0-8 overall. In the West, Prairie View comes in 5-0 in the conference, 6-1 overall. Alcorn State comes in at 4-0, 5-2 overall. Southern comes in at 2-2 in the conference, 3-4 overall. Grambling State 2-2 conference, 3-4 overall. Texas Southern 1-3 conference, overall 1-5, and Arkansas Pine Bluff 0-4 conference, overall 1-6. That'll take us to our FCS computer rankings. For the SWAC, ranked at number 15 is Jackson State. They were previously 21. FAMU comes in at 39. They were previously 49. Prairie View comes in at 41. They were previously 42. Alcorn State comes in at 58. They were previously 69. And Grambling State comes in at 67. They were previously 71. Alabama State coming in at 71, previously 84. And Alabama A&M coming in at 87, previously 98. Texas Southern comes in at 92, previously 89. Southern University comes in at 94, previously 95. Mississippi Valley State comes in at 106, previously 109. Arkansas Pine Bluff comes in at 117, and they were previously 120. And our Wildcats round out the SWAC at 121, previously 125. So, they're giving you credit where credit's due, but at some point in time you gotta you gotta make the computer give you the ultimate respect, and you gotta earn that on the field.
If there's somebody you want to blame, look at the person in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I truly don't think that we're 0-18.
No, and it's,
But we're 0-8.
Your coaches can only coach it. They can't get out there and play it for you. And yeah, there were some mistakes made, and you can't say it was all scheme. When we go out there and there's guys confused, and we're letting the wide receiver make Malachi. Now, granted, Weidman, and we'll talk about this here in the next segment. Weidman is a Division I wide receiver. Transferred in from Florida State to Jackson State. A guy like that, you cannot leave uncovered. You got to know where you're supposed to be. And we're playing 12 yards off the guy. And you still,
He still beat you.
Yeah.
You got a 12-yard head start, and he still run by you, and you wondering why he running by you. And he's the best receiver on the team.
Right. Even UCF held our wide receivers.
I would trip him. Right, if I can't keep up with it, trip him.
No.
You get 15 yards, not a touchdown.
Right. You keep it close.
Keep it close. I mean, come on. Whatever works. UCF held us every pass play.
They the first quarter, wow.
and they're one of the biggest, baddest teams in the United States, and they was holding little Bethune Cookman receivers. But again, I mean, why can't we trip somebody instead of letting them run by us and catching a long pass? I don't know. I'm just an armchair quarterback.
Because, and we'll recap the game from this past Saturday. You had the chance to go up by 3 touchdowns in the beginning of that game.
Yeah. So we were playing, we were balling.
Shadur Sanders was off. I mean, every time he turned around, he's either getting hit from the back, hit from the side, So
we were chasing him.
Yeah,
So we were balling.
Turning the ball over. Yeah.
I mean, the defense played their heart out. Oh, my God. Where was the offense, by the way?
We reduced 7 sacks in that contest Saturday. 7 sacks.
7 sacks.
One game.
We're not supposed to lose 42-12.
No.
Not with 7 sacks.
Not at all.
Right?
No. Right? Right is right. Wrong is wrong. So we go up 6-0. Missed the extra point.
That's getting kind of old.
So my question is, that's another thing of contention. We understand, Javier was out in the game.
But Javier doesn't kick extra points anyway, though.
Not that he can't.
Not that he can't, exactly.
Not that he can't. Then, your normal extra point kicker, it's a toss-up. But then you have a young man that you brought out, earlier in the season after the season has started, who has been automatic.
You mean the guy that kicked the 2 field goals?
Yeah.
Oh.
The guy after you missed the extra
Surprise.
point that you put in and, put it right through there. So then our Wildcats go up 9-0, and then that's where it all raveled. It stopped from there. Shadur Sanders, Malachi Wiseman. Shadur Sanders, Malachi Wiseman.
Well, but if you're going to keep the defense on the field, of course,
Yeah.
of course they're gonna get there. I mean, it's not like we too deep on the defensive line because we aren't. So if you keep them on the field, because offense decided that okay, we aren't playing anymore.
Right.
We just
so you let them bounce back. Of course, 21-9. Come back out.
Well, the 21-9, actually, we only had 55 seconds left in that half. I mean, we why are we throwing the ball anyway? Because we're in the game. We're in this game. The score is 14-9. We are in this game. 55 seconds.
You panic.
Panic? What do you mean panic? How could you panic with 55 seconds left? Panic on what accord did you panic on?
Did you score off of that drive?
Look, you threw an interception.
Exactly. So that means you panicked because you thought, okay, I got to get points before the half because they get the ball back.
Who said that?
So
what train of thought is that?
It's an unsaid thing because we had the opportunity, honestly, to get the second half kickoff, which we typically do defer, but we didn't.
So what we do? This is what we do. We just flip the whole thing. Instead of just running the clock out, getting the hell out of there at 14-9, we throw an interception. The guy run it down to the 3-yard line. They score the next play. So what happens?
Not just any guy. He says put a handle on his name. Shiloh Sanders.
Whatever.
The one you did not want to touch the ball.
Exactly.
Right.
So what happens? You come back out at the half. You kick it off. And what do they do?
Isaiah Bolden
94
takes
yards. You've completely flipped the momentum. Just completely flipped the momentum. And, I'm not being a critic here because I'm watching this game just like you playing it. I can only talk about what you did.
What you saw.
Yeah, what I saw, I can't come up with stuff. You can't make this stuff up. So I understand that we want to be aggressive, but football wisdom say with 55 seconds left, you in a game that nobody thought you should be in, run the clock out, come back out fresh, motivated. That's the way I look at it. I mean, again, I'm just an armchair quarterback. I'm just looking. I'm just watching. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Your defense has kept you in the game. It's still, you go in at halftime, it's still, it's, you got to play, but it's still within reason.
Because the defense is playing their heart out.
Right.
Again, you got 7 sacks. You limited their running game to 23 yards. So it's not like the defense isn't playing. So we 0-8.
Gave up 28 unanswered points.
28 unanswered points. Then after that, we got this 3-and-out syndrome. 3-and-out. Because we don't know which quarterback we want to play. I guess that's what it is. Or we're not happy with one of them, so we change. And so the quarterbacks, let's say, if I make a mistake, they're going to jerk me. They're going to jerk me out and put somebody else in.
And so what are you doing? You're looking over your back the whole time, and, so your focus is...
Instead of reacting, you think.
Yeah. Overthinking it.
You're overthinking it. I mean, I saw one quarterback get sacked, and he saw the guy coming. All he did was fell down. He almost went, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I mean, because I'm just saying, we're 0-8. We're 0-8, so.
In that contest, Shannon Patrick led He was 7 of 20 for 119 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, we held their offense to 23 yards rushing, and Shedeur Sanders was sacked 7 times. Sometimes you don't even have that in the whole season. So 7 times sacked in one game. And this is the number 1 team in the East.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Tony Bowman finished the game with 2 sacks, 5 tackles. Caleb Sutherland had a game-high 10 tackles and a sack. Ontario Johnson finished with 9 tackles on the day. Huge shout out to Lennon, the punter. He averaged 48 yards per punt, which, as long as it was 63 yards, I mean, we're putting ourselves in a good situation. You see the glimmer of light in a lot of places, but it's dark in a lot of other places, and you can't have both. We're playing. We're not playing in 2 different continents in the stadium. We're playing the same stadium, right?
Unfortunately, that's the way it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, we was here bragging a week ago about statistically how many yards we gained, and I said, yeah, but the other team had more points, so the statistics don't mean nothing. You got to score points.
You got to throw them out of the door.
And right now, our offense. I mean, I'm still looking for that team that played in Texas El Paso. I'm still looking for that team that played the first quarter against UCF. I'm looking for that team. I don't know what team we got offensively now. I'm not talking about the defense, because boy, I tell you, my hat's off to those defensive coaches. You guys have brought those kids around, and we're really proud of that defense. That defense looks like the old Bethune Cookman defense, holding strong, sacking, and stopping the run. That's what that defense done. And
team stats for this Saturday's contest: Bethune-Cookman finished with a total yards of 222 yards, Jackson State 332. Passing yards: Bethune-Cookman 152 to Jackson State's 309. Rushing yards: Bethune-Cookman 70, Jackson State 23. Penalty yards: Bethune-Cookman was penalized 6 times for 26 yards. Jackson State 9 times for 86 yards. First downs: Bethune-Cookman 13, Jackson State 17. Third downs: Bethune-Cookman 3 of 13.
Okay.
Jackson State 7 of 6.
There we go.
It went back down to
3 and 13.
Yeah.
And then again, the defense can't get off the field, because they were 7 and 16. We were 3 and 13.
And then on 4th down, we were 0 for 1. They were 1 for 2. Time of possession: Bethune-Cookman 27 minutes 42 seconds. Jackson State 32 minutes 18 seconds.
That's pretty close. But
you can't turn the ball over.
No.
And let them run it back, like you said, to your 5-yard line, and then on the touchdown, you give up on special teams.
Yeah, I don't know.
And their touchdowns were pretty quick strike, or every time they needed a conversion, they were able to get 7 of 16.
Okay, now, but you played at Florida State.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know prior that week, we're going to say the guy they're going to is Malachi. So everybody got that in their mind. Malachi is the guy.
Right.
And his number is whatever.
Right.
But keep your eye on Malachi. Don't let Malachi get behind you. Right?
Who did...
Malachi ran by our cornerbacks and they act like they couldn't identify who the hell he was.
One time he was forced out of bounds and came back inbounds and caught the ball for,
Welcome to the Swac on that one. Because he shouldn't have been eligible for the ball.
Yeah. You can't touch the ball,
Yeah, but that's...
They're saying if he was forced out of bounds, he was able to touch it, but you don't throw your hat,
But again, not making any excuses. Who is Malachi, the leading receiver on Jackson State team? What are you supposed to do? Make sure you keep your eye on him. What we do, he runs right by us. He waves at us as he's going by. And we trying to figure out, I wonder who's guarding this guy.
Jerry, welcome to the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. How's it going this week, today, brother?
I'm still chasing Malachi too, man.
and he said he has a scooter. Yeah. Jerry,
listen, that play right. Okay, I'm about to make an excuse. It's not an excuse, but so that play that y'all were just talking about, that was kind of, you look at that score and it's like, I'll say that Jackson State, they were the better team, no doubt about that.
yes.
And I emphasize team there. They were the better team. If you really think about it, that play was, they scored 42 points, right? So 7 points came off of kickoff return.
Yes.
They scored 7 points off of what really amounted to a pick six. The interception ran down to like 2 yard line, scored on the next play. So you start looking at the points on the board, all right? So you take away at least 28 points left. Then they score a touchdown when we had them on 3rd and 24 and give up a long first down, and then don't account for who scores on the next play.
Up the gut.
So that's 21 points. And then you talk about another 7 points on the play with Malachi. The defensive back does his job, forces him out of bounds, but forgets that he's playing in college and not high school, and gives up on the play. And now it looks like the dude is wide open. He's 5 yards free in the end zone because he basically stops. So that's 28 points right there. Now, that's 28 points that we didn't make. But, I said Jackson State is the better team because it's not very often that you go out and you keep a team to 23 yards rushing, 26 yards rushing. You get 7 sacks, and you still give up 42 points. That's
Thank
just,
you, Jerry. Thank you.
So you're making plays. When you play together, you're as good as anybody. When all of you just mentioned, those 28 points that I just mentioned, that's a guy missing an assignment here, a guy not completing an assignment there, a guy not keeping thing there. So you got 9 guys doing everything right and 2 guys in la-la land. Or 10 guys doing it right and 1 guy just decides he's in his own. And that's the difference between a good team and a team that's 0-7 or 0-8, where we are now.
Lost count there.
So it's not like, so you talk about the frustration. It's like, man, like there were times Jackson people were like, man, Bethune-Cookman neutralized our front seven. Bethune-Cookman. So it's like you walk away and you're like, I think I'm proud of the fact that we went out there and really just, they had negative 3 yards rushing after 3 quarters. You're like, we stopped them from doing that, but then just not finishing assignments. And so, just not finishing, we think about that sometimes as a not finishing games or quarters. And it's like, no, sometimes it's not finishing plays.
It's funny you said that, Jerry. Like, you look at the 3rd down conversions and you go like 7 to 16. Wow, they tried, 16 of them and was able to get, so they missed 9 of the 16 they tried. But sitting there in the stands, it's like they got every one of them. It's like, hey, you got him 3rd and long. He's going to go to the marker and sit down, and there's not a soul in maroon and gold within 5 feet of them.
Yeah, but we've had that problem all season, though. Teams convert. I mean, when you got a team 3rd and 20, they aren't going to get that. And you know what? This year, that's what's been happening to us. Teams send their receivers 20 yards, sit, and they just sit there. And I don't know where we are. I think we're taking a break or thinking, oh, well, he just sitting at the first down marker. Ain't no sense to be guarding him.
What, you think he's a lineman?
I don't know.
It's like
I don't know.
I think it's hard to explain because again, it's one of the kind of puzzling things about this watching the team is listen to what I'm saying. Now, I know sometimes, people listening, sometimes family members of players, sometimes it could be other people related to the program. I mean this when I say this. Look, we have good players. We have coaches who know what they're doing. But we're not a good team. We said that we just talked about, what I mean, you just talked about the whole thing with, they converted 7 of 16, but it felt like all of it. It's because they converted all of the critical conversions. Right? When the game was imbalanced, when momentum was on the line. The other team got all of those. And so they made the right plays at the right time. When they get a turnover, they convert the turnovers to points. When the game was still close, we had an opportunity to get the ball driving at the end of the first half. We got the ball with possession in good field position with an opportunity to take the lead going into halftime. Instead of taking the lead going into halftime, we throw an interception that turns into points the other way. Now, instead of being up by 4, we're trailing by 2 possessions, kick the ball off, don't cover the kickoff. Now we're down by 3 possessions. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the critical things that a team do well. Situational football, complementary football, getting off the field when you need to get off the field, converting first downs when you need to. Those are the things that we're not doing, and I think some of that could be, talking about our youth, talking about not being together in the spring, where guys don't know each other well. Guys are still trying to figure it out in the process. And, when you don't trust your teammates fully, you try to overcompensate and try to do their job for them, and then you leave gaps. So I think that, to me, that's ultimately where I've landed on this season.
But don't you,
–
at what point after 8 games do you not figure each other out? All right, after 6 games,
I guess what he's asking you, at what point do this love affair really take hold? Because we've 8 games in.
I don't know if I have all the answers, but I'm just saying, I'm telling you what my conclusion is. And so I'll give this example. I'll give this example of what I see is a bit of, to go back to the whole team thing, right?
Right.
So we watched one of the players in the first home game. We won't call the first player's name. We watched one of the players in the first home game. Things didn't go well. Game ends. The tradition of the team, emphasize team, is to go over when the game's over, win, lose, or draw. Go over with your teammates in front of the band, sing the alma mater, salute your fans, right? That's what we do. Well, this player got upset, and they walked off, stormed off to the locker room, had some coaches try to prevent him from doing so. Player did it anyway, right? And so getting into it with the coaches, verbal spats, all right, a little upset. But I don't know if there were any repercussions in practice or what have you. I don't know that. But you see that and you go, wait a minute. This is a person that's kind of disrespecting, some of the things that Coach Sims has laid out will be, what the team would do. Okay, well, that's one thing. But then we get the next home game and the same player does the same thing with the same coach. And what I saw then was like, okay, this is a problem. But here's what happened. The player disrespected the coach and stormed off and didn't listen to the coach tell him to come back. But Matt Johnson, the old 2010 Matt Johnson quarterback, true leader, I saw him stand in front of that player. He was calm. You guys know Matt. He's not a big guy, but Matt's a leader. He stood in front of the player and just, no. You're going to go over here and you're going to stand in front. He blocked his access to the locker room he's trying to get to. Now, he's fighting with the coaches, but Matt goes and stands in front of him calmly and just refused to bend to that player. Like, you're going to go over here, you're going to join your team. This is what you're going to do. And you saw the player actually come out of his, funk, and he went and joined the player. What I'm saying, though, is the coaches couldn't get the player to do it. I didn't see any other player getting him to do it. It took a guy who had played for Bethune Cookman in 11 years to go over and say, this is the way we do things. And I'm saying there has to be some of that, some of what we're saying about this team not trusting each other. At some point, there has to be leaders on that squad.
Yeah, it
not
has to be
coaches.
interior.
There has
Yeah.
to be leaders from among them to come and say, this is how we do things. And I'm saying because of all the friction, because of the administration, because of the youth of that team, I don't know if that's happened yet. Where there's enough people there to say, this is the culture. We trust this coaching staff. This is what we've seen happen. This is how we do things here. And this is the standard. I don't know if we have enough of that to permeate the entire squad to set that standard. And that's, to me, that's the only thing that's got to be the missing piece. Because we've seen them play good in stretches, but not the whole game. We've seen 9 guys do their job, but not 2. And I'm saying there has to be something that hasn't clicked yet, that moment at click yet, to say we're a football team, not just a bunch of good individuals.
I totally agree with you. Because that particular player you just mentioned, I think quite a few people in the stands saw him storming off the field and was trying to figure out where in the hell is he going and why is he leaving his team. Now, I'm sure the coaches are aware of this individual, and again, we don't call names and we don't give numbers, but I'm sure the coaches are aware of this. But that's a part of the culture.
Yeah, but that has to be managed. I mean, the coaches can do so much, and they have to. We're not taking that away. But a lot of that stuff comes from, that's Johnny holding Joe accountable.
Exactly.
And
yep.
so, and I don't know if we are at the point yet. I don't know if at the point yet where, these guys trust each other enough because they've had enough snaps together. They've gone through, they've gone through some adversity, but it's like, have they been together long enough to say, for someone to stick up and say, okay, stick their necks up, stick their heads up, stick their hands up and say, this is how we do things, and this is how we all pull in the same direction. And if we're working on the same page, we can be successful. But as long as we got a bunch of guys kind of doing things that seem right in their own mind, we'll have some success. We'll have the leading tackler, the second leading tackler, the leading receiver, the, most yards from scrimmage. We got all those things at Bethune Cookman, but we haven't won a game. So you see guys playing well, but that team coming together for 60 minutes, pulling that's missing. And I don't know the answer. I'm not going to talk about how to do.
But I think, just like you said, it's holding each other accountable. And I don't think that we're doing a good job as players holding each other accountable.
Well, and I don't think it just starts there, though.
How you see it?
The landscape of us saying, okay, well, it's being said that, okay, well, we didn't have a season last year, which everyone knows. We didn't have a chance to have summer school, We didn't have a chance to have this. We didn't have a chance to have this, So that almost opens the door up like, well, we didn't have a chance to build camaraderie. Now that we've played 8 games, we still haven't had that chance, even though we go out to practice with each other every day and we sit in the meetings and everything like that. So, we'll work on it next year.
But just like Jerry said, though, if you look statistically in the Swac, we got players leading categories. So it's not like we don't, like he said, it's not like we don't have the individuals to get the job done. I mean,
I just,
Yeah, man, listen, I don't know what the secret sauce is. I'm with you. I know the answer is not. You're right. Y'all heard me say last time, a couple weeks ago, it's not your fault, but it's your problem. You got to figure that out. I don't know if there's a way to put that in a bottle and sell it, because if you could, everybody would buy it. But every group's a little bit different. So I don't know the right answer. I wish I did. I'm sure Coach Sims and the coaching staff are trying to figure out that formula. Sometimes it's the craziest thing. You guys have been around sports for a long time. Sometimes it's two dudes hitting each other upside the head in practice, and you think, how can a fight lead to this? I'm not advocating that, and I'm not saying that's the answer. Sometimes it's we went on the road, we got into a game, and we won a game that we didn't think we were going to, and this came, and the team came. I don't know what's the thing that make it come together. I'm saying we need that thing that makes the team come together. Because I don't see that part happening yet.
And unfortunately, I think Ralph will agree with me, I don't see it happening. And the reason I say that, the same guys that we see getting up Tuesday through Thursday are the same guys every week, and there's not a new guy, who you know what? There's just no one who flips the switch other than the usual suspects to rally, That's
Jerry,
depressing. It's depressing.
Jerry, when I was 19, I was in the Marine Corps, and we were coming out of Marine Corps boot camp. And we had been in there 12 weeks. And at the end of that training, we have to make a 4-mile run, fully with about 70, 80 pounds on our backs. And before you start that run, the drill instructors say to you, everybody got to finish. If everybody don't finish, then you got to run it again. So as we get to the 3-mile pole, we got guys falling out on the side, and we know if we don't pick that guy up, we got to run this 4 miles again. So what we do is start breaking rank, picking guys up, and there might be two of us pick one guy up, but we dragging him and we're so tired we can barely take the next step. But we know if we don't pick that guy up,
you're going to have to take that step again anyway. See that same path all over again.
Same 4 miles. We got to do it over again. And that's what we got to do as a team at Bethune. I'm sure the coaches have said we got to do it together, guys, and we got to pull each other up. But I don't know if anybody just have stepped up and say, we aren't going to take this anymore. This is how this is going to happen. I mean, I'm talking about among the players, not the coaches, among the players.
Right.
The coaches can only do so much. You got to put some of the blame on the players, because the players are the one that run the routes. The players are the one that catch the ball. The players are the one that make the tackles, and so forth and so on. So if the wide receiver isn't running the right pattern and the quarterback throws the interception, you don't see that the guy didn't run the right pattern. All you know is you see the guy throwing the interception.
Yeah. The players got to love each other enough to have each other back. And again, I'm not saying that some of those things aren't developing in it. I think the other side of it, and again, I sound like an apologist right now. I get that. But to some degree, this was a perfect storm for Cookman, right? Because generally you're passing that down from one senior class to the next senior class, or, one group of leaders. You usually have people who have produced for you and performed for you on the field, and those are the people that you can see it coming up, and those guys are in the system. Well, what happened with Bethune? It's like you lost a lot of experience off that 2019.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of your leading tackler, your leading sacker, your leading interception guy, your leading rusher, your leading everything, receiver, your leading quarterback. You get all of these guys who have played a lot of snaps for you and have been your leaders, and they all depart at the same time. And you think, okay, we can handle this. We just go into the next season. And then COVID hit. And then you lose another significant group of people who had a lot of snaps on their line. And so that's why some of it is, it's not just that you didn't have a spring. It's you didn't have a spring, and unlike teams like FAMU who didn't have a spring, FAMU, for instance, they bring back most of their core leadership, minus Ryan's family. But, Bishop Bonnet and, Xavier Smith and Marquise Bill, all those guys are coming back. And so these guys who played for you, produced for you, and so when they say, no, this is how we do it, the rest of the guys listen. Well, Cookman saying that and looking around, but you're looking at guys who are first-year starters, guys. It's different. And again, I'm not trying to make an excuse because we're still 0-8. But at some point, you're like, you gotta find that somewhere. Somebody's got to step up because if we don't step up next season, then it don't just fix itself. Somebody has to emerge, or you're having the same conversation next year. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying, at some point, this is what I'm seeing happening, and it's got to get fixed some kind of way.
We'd like to thank all our fans for tuning in to the Hail Wildcats X's and O's show. We're here talking about the state of Bethune-Cookman football. We come into this open week 0-8. Never been in this situation before in modern times, and it's alarming. Question from one of our audience: are the coaches holding the players accountable? Ralph, we go to practice.
I personally think the coaches go overboard to let get the players to understand what they got to do. For what I see in practice,
but we do see some lax.
We do. See, I'm back with Jerry now though, because to me, with that player walking off the field those two times, that kind of sent a message to me, because I know. Other players saw this kid walking off the field.
And we have some of our audience asking why are they still on the team.
I would ask the same question. Why is this person still on the team? Because everybody in the stands see this kid, all the players going in front of the band, and you see this kid walking off by himself. And he didn't do it once, he did it twice. And he's still on the team, and he still starts. So, I don't know. I think that's a legitimate question.
It wasn't just that was a disrespectful moment. It was that you disrespected coaching staff in the process, and other people see it. So, again, I don't know exactly what's going on in that locker room. It just says to me, and, players will take some of that if that guy is, if you're productive and you're winning. But when you're doing that and you're losing, it's like it says, it's just something that says that there's something off as it relates. And when you look at that's just in itself, because that's an isolated event. But when you look at that in light of everything else that we've said, how many of these games have we been in critical situations where things can go in our direction if we make a play or two, and instead a play goes against us on one side of the ball, give it up to the other side of the ball, a play go against us, and instead of being up by a touchdown, now we're trailing. We've seen this same pattern. And so again, you come back and you say, that team, this is a team sport. It's not an offensive sport. It's not a defensive sport. It's not a special team sport. It's not a coach sport. It's not a player sport. It's a team sport. It's all of that. It's everything that happens off. And so you're saying there's something about that chemistry that just isn't there yet. And again, I don't know if you can shake it up and put it in the can, but you do have to figure it out.
Very interesting comments on our Facebook thread here and questions. I can't just leave it at the players. There is something that, if you haven't noticed, there's something that we see every Saturday on the sideline, especially during halftime, that draws a question. Okay. Yeah, so, there's a lot of questionable things that are going on that aren't related to not having spring practice, not having summer school, money being taken away from the football program to balance things and things of that nature. These things come down to just the organization and, fake it till you make it,
Yeah, but money has nothing to do with discipline, though.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Those things that we see are like
It has no connection.
That's just effort.
Because regardless, this is the way I look at it. Regardless of how much they cut the budget, sure it did hurt. Sure it cut it short in some areas. We still got 63 scholarship players, maybe 80. So we got to work with what we got.
Right.
I mean, because that's the hand we were dealt.
Yes.
You can't fold it, so you got to play the cards. So yeah, the budget was cut, but we still got these players.
You're still playing football every Saturday.
Football, and we haven't had the bum rides to the game yet. We've been riding jets and buses.
Yeah.
So what the players that we have, those are the players we should be concerned with, not what we should have had, but what we have, because we got them, and we have played well enough to be better than 0-8. It's like Jerry said, it just seems at certain times we can't get organized to do the right thing at the right time. And I could point out
how many times have you guys seen this year? How many times have you seen this year? We driving the ball right down the field. We get in scoring position, and then there's a false start. There's a holding. There's a fumble snap, and you go from first and goal to third down to something, and not a field goal range. Like that kind of thing has happened all year. And you're right. I don't know if I don't think that's the money thing. That's just the
focus. I mean,
I keep saying it. I know it's hard because you can't quantify this, but that's a chemistry thing. That's
exactly
something's not clicking or something hasn't clicked here, and I don't know again what that moment is. Hey. Maybe they should have all jumped out of an airplane together in the offseason. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff against the wall. But that moment hasn't happened where these guys just feel like we can collectively, when I know I got my brother's back, my brother's got my back, we're all pulling in the same direction. And some kind of way, we're going to figure this thing out and pull out a win. I haven't seen that kind of moment happen yet.
But
as a result, we're 0-8.
You want to know something that, the change in the general on the field, and we call the general the quarterback on the field, right? Cool. When you're driving or, you the series right before the next offensive series, you drove the ball down the field with one guy, and then you put another one in, but you're not changing out like offensive linemen and things of that nature. So you got a whole new skipper in there, and,
See, again, like I said earlier, we're not satisfied with either one of those guys. That's why we keep jerking them in and out. Because we're not having either one of them.
Like you say, you put one guy in and you let him hand the ball off.
I know no
with
one
52
was listening.
Seconds left.
No one was listening to me, but I would repeat myself again. If you're not happy with either one of these guys and you're 0-8, their seniors ain't going to be back next year anyway. You got 3 or 4 freshmen. Let's go. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
You got to be loyal, though, Ralph, right?
Loyal.
Hey,
But what's the worst thing that could happen if you said, okay, we 0-8, and we got to get ready for next year?
Can't put him in there if he didn't go.
There you go. What you going to do? Because the way we're looking at it now, Jerry, hear me on this one. We're in the exact same situation next September. We got a quarterback with no experience. Same situation.
Next year?
We have a quarterback with no game experience. I don't know how this is going to change.
Yeah.
Wait, so Black?
Huh?
Black doesn't have another year of eligibility?
No, sir.
He doesn't?
Nope.
That was our understanding.
He came in 2018, right? And everybody got the COVID year.
No, I thought he was in 2017.
But
everybody got the extra year with COVID, though, right?
Let's not even. It's all kind of like
I don't know.
Up in the air because right now, we don't, compliance wise, we don't have
our guy.
Yeah, it's not solidified in that.
Yeah, that's still a work in progress.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Jared, we don't have our guy.
Like, so you never know. Like you go and ask a guy like in the stands. We heard one guy had like 4 more years, and they're like, really?
He already been here 4 years.
You know? So
Got you. All right. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah. So I was under the assumption that Black had another year. And to that, if that's the case, and I think, well, at least you got a quarterback with some experience. But if you're right, you're talking about being 0-8 right now, and if you got to at least run the guy out there in an active series or two, even
this is my thing, though.
And let him know what it's like to play three-boy football.
Even if Black has another year, you're not like you're alternating him out right now. So are you just going to settle for that next year, or
Yeah, well, they've done a pretty good job of making sure, if you think about it, really, since 2011, they've always had a package for the second quarterback. We knew Larry Brown was going to be the quarterback when Quentin Williams was there.
Right.
We knew Quentin Williams was going to be the quarterback when Jackie Wilson was there, because they made sure that those guys got on the field in meaningful situations. And Arkevius Williams got on the field when Larry Brown was there. And so you were passing things down to someone. The next year, it was no doubt who the man was going to be.
Exactly.
But even though you had a 5 starter, you still had somebody else getting meaningful snaps, so you never find yourself in this situation.
Okay.
So I would like to hope in my mind that at least it's Black and somebody else next year. I would hate to think that we starting all the way from scratch. You just gave me angina, man.
Okay,
this is real quick, Ralph. One of our fans said Black was a senior last year, but due to COVID, got this extra year.
See, it's back to my point.
Okay, I'm confused.
It's back to my point. It's back to my point, because the way I see this thing, we're gonna be in the same situation. We're gonna have quarterbacks with no experience. So I'm saying you're 0-8. We got 3 more games to play. Let's play one of the freshmen. Let's get him some snaps. If not, you're gonna go through the same thing all over again.
Wow, but that's something.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm just.
I mean, everybody's on the same page with you. You hate to call the season a loss, but you can win the next 3 games, and okay, great, you won the last 3 games.
But then you start off next season with no quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
But I think even to that, you can get let's assume since we're all kind of like we're trying to play the job of compliance officer. let's assume that neither Shannon or Devin comes back next year. They're out of eligibility. Let's just make that assumption. I don't know if that's true. Let's just make that assumption. Even if that's the case, you can still play those guys this year and try to win a game, but have a package or two for one of the younger guys that you think may be able to take over for you next year, just to get them some meaningful snaps. You don't have to say we're not going to try to win the next 3 games because we're playing a guy who may not be ready. Those are 2 different things in my mind. So I agree. I think, put the guy on the field, give him some meaningful snaps, but still try to win these next 3 games. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
But this is my thing, and I understand your point, both of you guys' point. But in your heart of hearts, guys, do you think the offense is going to change next year? Will we be running a different offense next year?
I don't know that either.
Of course, I don't know.
I mean,
I think the offense that I see right now, honestly, looks a lot like what Miles was. I mean, it's not
to a T. Yeah.
So you said it's vanilla.
Yeah, it's not to a T, but it's like I don't know that we're. I know we got Jones in late, so getting in his terminology. Maybe the terminology is not all there. Maybe the way he wanted to coach certain things. Maybe the way he wants to coach blocking angles and that sort of thing. Maybe he hasn't had time to do all of that. And that's significant as far as teaching technique and installing the way he wants to install. But as far as calling plays, I don't see a big difference between the plays that we're calling and what Miles Collins ran when he was offensive coordinator there. I don't see that. Now, the way you teach it and execute it, he may have time to be different in that area, but I'm not certain this is a different offense schematically.
Is it different than our offense in years past?
Oh, good.
Not
think
significantly.
It is. Well,
I don't think it's significantly different.
Okay. No, not significantly, but in the past, we had a quarterback that could run. We ran an RPO.
Yeah. What I guess my thing is, have you had enough time? Like Jerry said, he did come in late, like July 31st. That's a month before our first game. Our first game was, the first weekend, Labor Day weekend. I hear you, Willie Jackson.
So how many years you should give an offensive coordinator before you expect them to produce?
Well, it depends on who the offensive coordinator is.
And that's the thing. Like
Joe Brady worked miracles at LSU in 1 year, but that was different level, different scale.
So we had a coach who wasn't the OC.
Coordinator can have, but nobody knew who Joe Burrow was 1 year. He got a different offensive coordinator and was the number one overall pick. I'll say this, but when you we talk about what do we do offensively, right? And think about it. When Alan Suber was the offensive coordinator, primarily our route tree, the routes that you saw run were a bunch of stick routes, a bunch of possession routes, a bunch of run to the sticks, curl, stop, a few wrinkles here, put the tight end in the H-back position. That was our primary plan of attack. That's what you saw.
Right.
That's the same thing we see this year. You don't see. It's not like it's radically different where you're seeing wide receivers running routes at different levels, where you're running different types of crossing routes, or you running different levels. That's not radically different. And so it's not like we've gone from like they used to call themselves a West Coast attack because it was short passing, but those aren't West Coast. That's not the West Coast route tree. Something different. But anyway, it's not like we're seeing like an air raid attack now, or there's a different. The routes that we're running are basically the same basic types of routes that we used to run. And so I don't see anything radically different. I mean, we're running zone, but zone is zone.
Right.
Offensively, we run less RPO. We put less in the hands of the quarterback to be a running threat. Some of that is because Shannon Patrick is not a running quarterback, and it seems like with Devin Black, they're trying to preserve him. But, in years past, it was you had to defend the entire field, and you had an extra offensive weapon because the quarterback was always a runner.
And that's what I think a lot of teams key on that, and I've said it to Ralph and I said it to a couple other people that, you kind of almost became, I hate to say one-dimensional, but if you're not handing the ball off, you're not a huge threat, to people. And they can sit and play soft coverage and, we might hit a pass here, we might hit a pass there, but, if our defensive front gets to them.
The one thing we know with this offense, if the receiver isn't open, we're going to do one or two things. Throw an interception or get a sack because we aren't going to run the ball. So teams know that. They know that.
Is it throwing to one person? And when I say to one person, like, but we've seen people open this year and the ball has not.
But the offense seemed to say, okay, even though I'm sending four receivers out, hey, you want to throw that ball to that boy over there. Don't worry about them other three. And you know what? From the time we hacked that ball, we're spying that guy down. And everybody in the stadium know where we're going, including the defense.
I heard a lot of that Saturday.
Everybody know where we're going. I mean, our offense is not a threat because we're one-dimensional. We're one-dimensional. Everybody, players know that.
Join the talk. We're talking BCU football, the state of BCU football. We're now in our live call-in segment, 386-868-0635, 386-868-0635. We're here to talk Wildcat football. We want to hear from you, Wildcat fans. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your opinions. 386-868-0635. It's just...
If you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when we were honoring the 2010 class.
Yes.
And those guys were talking about, remember one of the questions that we asked them is, when did you guys know that you guys were really special? We heard two different things. We heard Ryan Lewis say, we were 5-6 the year before, but we knew we had a good football team. And say we went out, because we competed, we played every down hard, so we knew it was just but a matter of time before we came together. And so, but they were building momentum going into something. So that was one. The other thing that we heard is they said, remember when we played against South Carolina State? That's when we knew, it was like that was the moment that we knew we were for real. And that's, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm waiting on these guys to have that moment. Maybe we'll get it in one of these next 3 games, and they get some momentum going into next year. And it's like, you know what? It just clicked all of a sudden. And so, but that's interesting. Do you guys recall like watching teams, being a part of teams, playing on teams, coaching teams, where something happened and you're like, this was the moment that this team came together and things shift? Can you recall anything like that in your playing?
Oh, yeah.
Or
I mean,
course, yeah.
in June for me, it was our last game for the Daytona Wave Runners women's tackle football team. And, we came in that game, and same with the Orlando team, with not a whole lot of players. But, they finally put everything together in that game. And, it was like, wow, they finally came together as a team, what we've been coaching the whole season. And, yeah, definitely.
What game of the season was that, though?
The last game of the season. Last game of the season. So it was a short season with COVID, but yeah. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. Welcome.
Are we talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Daryl, this is Mark Lewis. How you doing?
Good, Mark. How's it going, man?
I'm fine. Say hello to Ralph. Tell my roomie I miss him.
He hears you. Mark Lewis, wide receiver coach at Seabreeze High School.
District 7, 5A district champion. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congrats to you and all the rest of the Wildcats over there.
Oh yeah, me and Matt Johnson and Pat Brown, everybody, man. It's like BCU and BCU Atlantic over there. It's crazy.
Indeed.
Mark, what you think?
Where we at, Mark?
Wow, we need a lot of work. I've only had the one occasion to watch the Wildcats live this year, guys, and that was against Prairie View. I thought that was actually a pretty, as far as personnel was concerned, it was a pretty even game. As a matter of fact, I probably would have given us an edge on personnel. But the one glaring thing that I saw that we could not do versus Prairie View was stop their vertical game. It seemed like every time they needed to go into the pocket and get a big play out of the passing game, they were able to just get over the top of our safeties and get to the end zone. And I think I saw that on 3 occasions. Now, converse to that, our offensive game looked to be disjointed. We got a big receiver that we would use in that game. I believe his number was 1. Big kid.
Tight end, Kamari Everett.
Really naturally a tight end. Yeah. He's naturally a tight end, but they flank him, and they threw a couple of routes to him, some fade routes that we were successful. We got him in the end zone one time, and then all of a sudden, Prairie View, got smart about it, sent the safety over the top and knocked the hell out of him when he got into the end zone again and stopped it from scoring again. But it seemed like, we were kind of like a one-trick pony offense. We've got a big back that can get us some yards. But our quarterback play is disjointed, and we're not getting consistency out of places where we used to have leadership. We used to have leadership at the receiver position. We used to have leadership at the quarterback position, and that helped a lot because you need field generals, in an offensive effort. You guys know that as well as I do. And it just seems that we don't have that right now. We're lacking chemistry and we're lacking leadership.
Totally agree.
With you, you're still in your season, Mark. Do you, and like Ralph said, congratulations. Do you feel that can happen to finish out the season strong? Do you think we can get that leadership?
Well, anything's salvageable as long as you've got good athletes. And I don't think there's any question that we've got guys that can win. The problem is that Coach Sims has been hit negatively with a perfect storm. We're in a new conference. We're in also a situation where we're coming off of an entire year where there was virtually no football activity whatsoever. So when you bring new guys in, they can't learn the system. You bring new guys in and they're not used to the coaches. The guys that you have had there in the past may have a problem with the fact that Coach Sims' voice isn't what it used to be when they were freshmen and sophomores. So, I think sometimes people don't really understand. Players can get they can get tired of hearing the same voice. And I'm not saying this as a negative to Coach Sims because I think he's a very positive guy. But every once in a while, you need somebody new to come into the room and just basically shock them because the players aren't hearing that voice anymore. And this just adds to team chemistry when you've got somebody who can say something and all of a sudden, ears perk up in the room and everybody starts paying attention. You need somebody that's just to really grab attention right now. And I don't know, those guys, this coaching staff has been there for a long time now. And I just don't know if they've got the ears in the room anymore. And that can be a problem. That can be a real problem.
And we understand definitely what you're saying. I know Steve Baggs came in before the last home game and spoke to the team there at the hotel. That's someone who's been through it, at every level. But, the main thing is, are they grasping what's being said to them? And I totally get your point, Mark. I totally get your point.
Yeah, I mean, losing Mark, I wasn't really crazy about the way Alan Suver called plays, but we did have guys like Arkevius who was able to go out and dynamic players that, given an option, could make things happen with their feet. Mm-hmm. And dynamic players who made defensive coordinators play us honest. Nobody took chances on us with blitzes with Arkevius in there, and if they did, a lot of times he would pick up stuff and he would just make things happen. You go all the way back, and we mentioned my coaching teammate right now, Matt Johnson. You didn't pull that stuff on Matt Johnson. Matt Johnson Matt Johnson reads defenses like most people read alphabet soup. It's too easy. If you've got a kid in there that's inexperienced and he doesn't have an offensive coordinator, that can be a teacher, because at this level we're talking about multiple looks, different shells, different things that they can throw at an inexperienced quarterback to make him totally confused at the line of scrimmage. I can go up there and look at something and I go like, okay, that looks like cover zero because there's only one safety. Next thing you know, in an instant, you're looking at cover four, and this kid is totally discombobulated. He doesn't know checkdowns. He doesn't know anything that basically can get him out of that deal. NCAA football at the Division I level is the closest thing as you're going to get to what they do in the NFL, because a lot of those guys have either played in systems or coached or played in systems that are NFL derivatives. And so what you're throwing at a kid is a lot to overcome. And right now, I don't know. I don't see that kind of intelligence at the play level as far as our players are concerned, and that may be totally due to the fact that the staff itself aren't coaching these guys up as far as excellence and those are concerned. And it's going to take a while. It may take a new coordinator coming in. It may take trying to get guys through the transfer portal who are really used to more intricate offenses. These guys in the Swac. One thing's for sure, you're going up against a top flight D coordinator every week, and in a copycat world, it's easy. These guys do nothing but watch film. So once they find something that you don't do well, or they find something that they can pick on, believe me, the next guy's going to pick on it as well.
Jerry, you had a question for Mark?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? This is my
Jerry,
question for you.
Good to hear your voice.
Congratulations again on what you guys are doing over there at Seabreeze, or, I call it Bethune Cookman Beachside right now.
Oh man, I love you for it. Let me tell you something. Pat Brown is a blessing, bro. He is just. I've worked with very few coaches as dynamic. We hold our kids to a wonderful standard. It's turned the program around. This is our first district title in 14 years, and as a former player for the Sand Crabs, to be able to go back and give back to that program is just a great blessing. So thank you ever so much for your good wishes, and I hope we're in your prayers.
No, absolutely. So here's my question, Mark. Congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
At what moment, because you guys, Seabreeze used to be the program Daytona. Before Mainland had their run, everybody came to Daytona to see Seabreeze. But, you guys have kind of struggled recently. Was there something what was the moment when you guys know what, this year's going to be different? It's going to be, what was that kind of, that aha moment, if you will, where you knew, okay, this is going to be a special bunch, a different bunch. We can do something this year.
Yeah. Well, this is Pat's third year. This is my second year with the program. I tried to get in on the first year, but I went through some administrative setbacks, and then we got hit with the COVID crisis. So it got me in a little bit late. I didn't want to get in on the first year in the middle of the year, because I could have done that. And I saw what he was trying to build. This is more. Let me reiterate. A football team becomes a good football team when everything around them is a better culture. Pat holds our kids to a higher standard than they have been held in that program for over a decade, maybe even more. And that makes it attractive. I'll mention one kid, Jeremy West, who leads the area in sacks, and is one of the area leaders in tackles for loss. He's a senior transfer that came to us from Flagler Palm Coast. He wanted to play for Pat Brown. There are other players that we got from Mainland. One of my star wideouts right now, a kid by the name of Peyton Schofield, who I think is a bona fide Division I talent, is a transfer from Atlantic High School. In our world now, especially with social media, there aren't really many secrets around there. And when people see you doing the right thing, they want to be a part of it. And so we're now getting the kind of athletes who are also the kind of people that we want, because our parents want us to hold their kids accountable both on and off the field. and that really breeds a family atmosphere. Pat believes in that. He stresses it. We hold these kids accountable. We have a team GPA rating that is higher than the state standard. We do things in the community. We take a lot of trips. We travel. We spend a great deal of time together. And this is only our third year we got a chance to come and win this title. And when you look at the horizon, it's going to get even better. Seabreeze football under Pat Brown, I predict, is going to be a force over the next decade, maybe even longer, or as long as he decides to be there.
That's great. That's great, Mark. That's great. Well, we thank you for calling in, Mark, and the best of success in the playoffs and for your final game of the regular season. And we look forward to hearing from you on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show.
Thank you, Daryl, man. We're gonna go out here and we're gonna try to win the state title, brother.
Yes, sir.
I really mean it. And I think we can do it. I really do.
We're gonna be pulling for you guys.
We're pulling for you, brothers.
All right, man. I love you guys.
Yes, love you too, man. All right. Good night.
Bye.
There you have it. Mark Lewis, the legendary Mark Lewis, calling in on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. 386-868-0635, 386-868-0635. We want to hear from you on the Hill Wildcats X's and O's show. We're talking the state of Bethune-Cookman football, what we have to do to right the ship. To start it off this Sunday. Go ahead. You had something, Jerry?
No, you were saying what we need to do. I'm sitting here looking at the drive chart from Saturday's game.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a good place to start. Bear with me if you will. So this is what our drive chart looks like. 3 plays, 4 plays, 3 plays, 1 play to end in the touchdown. 10 plays, that's good. 3 plays, 3 plays, 2 plays, 1 play. 13 plays, 6 plays, 3 plays, 7 plays, 2 plays. We can't keep the ball. We're not making first downs. You can't win a football game when you got a bunch of 3 plays and 2 play drives that don't end in point. So that's bad. That's bad. So somebody got mad when I said that last time. I don't know what you want me to say about that, but you gotta help your defense out. You gotta play good complementary football, and sometimes just keeping the ball helps out everything. But there's too many short drives, too many drives where you're going out and you snapping the ball 2 or 3 times and you're giving it back to the opposition. You got to find a way to change that, because again, we've been looking at those third down stats, and as bad as we talk about how bad we've been on third down from a defensive standpoint, we've been much, much, much worse from an offensive standpoint of converting third down. So we got to figure that out. Got to get that worked out. But yeah, that's just too many times we're not keeping the ball.
We can't argue your point. Every week I said, if you look at third down, that tells you why your defense is getting killed, because the offense is not really pulling its weight. So there we go. But you were getting ready to say something about Sunday.
Yeah, 386-868-0635. You want to expound on Sunday?
Well, what the X's and O's show is going to be doing, along with a lot of volunteers, is we're gonna entertain the football team and the staff. We're gonna feed them on Sunday. We're gonna be getting prepared. We should be feeding them around 3. So we still need some donations and to help us, and we need some volunteers. So I know all you guys are busy, but we still need your help.
And for nothing else, as we have said, it is a football team event, and it's for the football team, not for the community. But come out and rally behind these guys. We talk about here on the show, the team camaraderie, what we need to do to make them a family. Show them that you're a part of the Wildcat family. You never know when that extra push could go a long way to finishing the season 3-8.
Because even though we might say some things you might not agree on, but we're still supporters of the Wildcats, and we're still hanging in there because we still think we're going to finish the season out really on a roll. So we haven't given up.
We sit out there in that sun every day. Saturdays.
Every day. So we really haven't given up, but we do have our opinions because, as I said previously, we are armchair quarterbacks.
Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X and O show. Welcome.
How you all doing? It's Vernon Jackson, Palm Beach.
Good to hear from you, Mr. Jackson.
It's always good to hear you all. It's a great show, and I pray for my Wildcats, and I make it personal when I call them the Cats. And one thing about Bethune Cookman football, they always have some excellent quarterbacks. That's one of their secrets, the quarterbacks. And like you all saying, they always had like a quarterback, like AJ. He was a great one. He's gone. Devin was the backup to him, so I don't understand why he's not, really when they put him in, really doing his thing because he was the backup to AJ. And I remember that year when Bethune Cookman had Trotman, and I think he got hurt when he was playing Hampton. They put Alan Super in, and it seemed like we ended up winning the game because the game turned around because he was a firepower when Trotman got hurt. So I don't understand what's going on with Blackman, but maybe the team needs a come to Jesus meeting. Do you all really want to win? Because they've been in a lot of games. So the fact is, we may have to make some changes with coaches, whatever, because my thing is Bethune-Cookman has a rich history of sports football. And the alumni are still behind them. Our alumni has changed the name to Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune National Alumni Association. We have increased the numbers. We're behind the team, but the team needs to know, this coming game next weekend when they play Alcorn, whatever, the name they want to call the school.
We got you.
So the seniors need to go out with a bang. I tell people down here in Palm Beach County, we got some football players that can come right in and make a difference at Bethune-Cookman. But I want Bethune-Cookman to win these last 3 games, especially against those Raptors, because right now that snake is trying to strike, say, "Oh, y'all reign is over," but the reign is never over. If the team go out there, if they in it to win it, then they should go out there and show it on the field and leave it out there on the field. And I pray and say, "Hail Wildcats."
Hail Wildcats. We thank you for calling in, Mr. Jackson, and we thank you for your continued support and of the Hill Wildcats show and the Wildcat football team and all Bethune-Cookman. And we look forward to talking to you next Thursday night.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night. 386-868-0635. 386-868-0635. We have a time for about one more caller. The call into the show. We're talking the state of Wildcat football. Also, if you're on Facebook, we're also posting a link to where you can donate for the cookout this weekend. If you can't donate, we'd love to see you in person. As Ralph said, we'll kick off about 3 p.m. on a Sunday right on campus at the practice field. Come out, join us, assist. Let the team know that you're supporting them. I saw after the game on Saturday, there were quite a few fans who were, hey, let's meet the team at the field when they get back from Jackson. So, we're still here behind them. We're still pushing forward, and there's a change is going to come. Caller, you're on the Hill Wildcats X and O show. Welcome.
Hello, Darryl. This is Willie Jackson. How you doing today?
Good, Willie. Good. How's it going, my man?
I enjoy you guys' show. I've been trying to call about 5 hours, but that's okay. But I'm listening to all the people on the show, and I look at the team. I've been around Wildcat football since 1972. I'm one of them old people. So, and I kind of we've been through tough times before. Matter of fact, I was with President Bronson and Trustee Coakley that saved the football team back in 1992. I mean, a lot of people don't even probably know that we were about to lose football at that time. But we came back. Coach McLaren coming back as a head coach for a second time, and us hiring Coach Wyatt, and then after him we hired Jenkins, and we hired Coach Sims. He's a pretty good coach, but let's be honest, he would never take us to a championship because he hasn't yet. And let's just be honest and say, hey. So right now, I can kind of like almost promise you, this will probably be his last year, because I don't think, unless some miraculous happen, that we'll win a game this year.
So you think we will finish the season over?
No, they're going to let him finish the season.
No. I was saying you're saying we probably will not win a game this year.
No, we won't. Now that's unless we get a new quarterback and two cornerbacks. That's what we're. If you look at it, our defensive line, I was wondering, where did those guys come from? Where have they been all year? But our cornerbacks still play 15 yards off the ball. I don't understand that. 100 years ago, when I was playing defensive back, we didn't play that far off the ball. So, but if we don't get that, we won't be in none of these contests, and that's just the truth.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I hear a lot, and I was doing some research on Pat Brown and from Seabreeze. I'm saying, goodness gracious, wasn't he at Bethune Cookman? He played under Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken.
2010.
He came in under Coach Jenkins. Came with Coach Jenkins from Rutgers to Bethune Cookman.
Okay, so he's a Wildcat. Not, like Coach Wyatt, a lot of people disagree with him, but he did pretty good. I'm from the old days of Coach Moore. I was telling some of my teammates, if the Wildcats lose 11 games, it took us 4 years to lose 10. So that hurts us. It really,
right.
All of us kind of like, we're up in arms. We want them to win the game so bad. Like, we really wanted Coach Jenkins' team in 2010. We were 10-0 and we played the Rattlers, and they beat us. Just like in 1975, we were 10-0, went to Tallahassee, and the Rattlers beat us that year too. Kind of like deja vu.
Right.
And that hurts, but we want us a good team, and we're going to support them no matter what. But and I think, like I said, I think Coach Sims has done a reputable job. He's a good guy, but Cookman needs now somebody like in a Coach Jenkins mode. Then you won't have the players doing like the one guy you guys were speaking about, going over to the band and salute. No, that won't happen. Because if it did happen one time, he wouldn't have been on the team to do the second time.
Right.
So, but like I was, the other guy who's speaking with you, I'm like him. Listen, put the freshman quarterback, give him 3 games. Hey, if we lose them, what's the worst? If we keep the quarterbacks we've got now, we're going to lose. So, but it's been
right.
But anyway, you guys are doing a good job. Keep up the good work, and give me a call so I can send you a donation for the kids to eat on Sunday.
We'll do that, Willie. We truly appreciate it, man, and we thank you for all your support, man. It was great seeing you this weekend and the weekend before that. Just keep on pushing, keep on assisting the program, and keep on being a vocal voice out there for everything Bethune Cookman.
All right, then. You guys have a good night.
You too. All right. Good talking to you, Willie. Guys, it's wrap-up time. We have off weekend here in Daytona this weekend. The Maroon and Gold are off, trying to nurse some injuries, get back healthy before we kick it off at noon on next Saturday against Alcorn State. Jerry, give us some closing words, man. What would you like to see for the rest of the season?
let me. I'll start my closing words with this. Here's what you know. You ever heard of the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yes.
All right. You ever heard of the Dust Bowl?
The Duck Bowl?
That happened in the United States? Dust Bowl. But let me put it this. Have you ever heard of Franklin Roosevelt?
Yes.
Roosevelt?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, with me. Have you ever heard of a man named Adolf Hitler?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Hitler, he some prominent things happened to him in 1933. It's the same year that the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge began. It's the same year that FDR took office as president. That was 1933. That's also the last time that Bethune Cookman didn't win a football game in the season. We went 1933. So what do I want to see? I don't want to be added to that timeline.
Right,
So,
right. Not during, not during our tenure.
I don't want to see Oprah. And
Right.
so it starts with you got to win the bye week. What I mean by you got to win the bye week. So, get healthy this week. Go in and figure out some things that are in your control. Some things aren't. Figure out what some things that are in your control and fix those things. Highlight your strengths, minimize your weaknesses, and figure out a way to win a football game. I don't get paid to figure out what that is, but I want to see it happen. And so I don't know all what that is. I don't know. The coaches, they work hard, they get paid good money, and they are at this for 16 hours a day sometimes. When you come out of those meetings, figure out a way to Alcorn, Grambling, and Florida A&M. You got to win at least one of them. I like to see you win all three of them. And so, we get an opportunity a week and a half from now, but, it's got to start with doing the little things and figuring out what your strengths are and what gives you the best chance at success in the off week.
Jerry, you went pretty deep on that comparison, though, right? I mean, you took us back in history, bro.
Through a Hail Mary.
Much appreciative, man. Thank you.
1933, man. Miss Merritt was walking around campus in 1933.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. And she was actually help coaching the team. She was a boss.
That's how unprecedented these times are.
Yes. Yes.
And by the way, we were 0-1 that year. So we only had one up to.
Wow. Ralph?
Well, I think I really, really did appreciate all the guys that called in tonight and shared what they felt. Because that's what we've been feeling all along. I mean, we know this team has talent, but we just haven't been able to put it all together at the same time. But I think we're going to get there. I'm pretty much optimistic about the next 3 games. I think we have an opportunity to win all 3 games, but we got to make sure that's what we want to do as players. We want to go out not going over and just win these last 3 games and set ourselves up for next year. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Because I actually think we're going to win the next 3 games. That's where I'm at.
There you have it. I'd just like to say, no matter what, I'm going to continue as well as I know the other guys here on the radio and, a bunch of our fans. I'm going to continue to support our guys. We're going to be there. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to be there. We're going to continue to support them. We're going to do everything we can to let them know they are loved and continue to push them. As Jerry said, you got to win the off week. And we're almost there to I don't know how many more practices we have left before we start preparing for Alcorn. But what I do know is that our team needs our love. Our team needs our support. And we're asking you to show your support come this Sunday. Come out if you can. Join us. If you can't make it there, please donate to the cause to show these guys that, hey, we're still here and we're still pulling for them.
Oh, and by the way, in case you guys didn't know this, our baseball team just recruited the 48th best class in Division One.
Hey,
So I mean, everything is not going bad. We're still in there,
right?
We're trying to win.
Still,
The 48th best class in Division One baseball. So there you go.
right on.
But we got a win in us. We might have 3 wins in us. I can't accept it.
Thank you, Jerry. That's where I feel too, Jerry. See, I know we got 3 wins in us. I know we got it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But one other thing too. Just want to keep reminding people: Sunday is not a community picnic. Okay, this is for the football team and the staff. But we do need you to volunteer to help us serve, clean up, and donations. We would be appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So
in other words, we really, really, really want you to show up, but
come full.
We might not be able to feature.
Right.
We might not be able to feature.
Right. For my co-host, Mr. Ralph Smith, and Mr. Jerry Bill, I'm Daryl Williams. Thanks for tuning in to the Hail Wildcats X's and O's show. We look forward to seeing you and hearing from you next Thursday, 8 p.m. here on Joy 106.3 FM. God bless you. Good night. Hail Wildcats.
Hail Wildcats.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bethune-Cookman University alma mater.